A very big reason people are living here today is for the sole purpose of healing others in need.
We don't walk at it alone. It's a magnificent blend of individualistic people with extraordinary abilities, all joining in to heal the world together.
And since all of us have the ability to heal, there must be a way to tell the world all about it.
Welcome to the Healers Podcast.
And welcome everybody to this episode of The Healers. My name is Logan. I have my lovely host Gabrielle Tuitt and our special guest Devon Cajuste.
Hello.
Devon, welcome out, my friend.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Really honored. Thank you so much.
We're honored, man.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you.
Yeah, because you're a healer, and that's what this is all about.
Well, we're all healers. We're just waking. I just woke up a little
You're a
early.
conscious healer.
Yeah.
Most people are unconscious healers.
We're all healing each other with love, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we are all healers, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But exactly. I love especially because you are a huge teacher of meditation, which I am such a advocate of. And I started meditating when I was 7 because my aunt was a transcendental meditation teacher. And I was so fortunate to have an aunt who was a teacher at that age. And so I'm excited to have you because I love meditation and I'm really an advocate, and I'm always kind of pushing people softly and encouraging people. So why don't you tell us, you have this amazing story that you shared with me earlier, and just give everybody a little bit about your background and how you came to be a spiritual healer.
Yeah,
and
give us the goods, dude.
teacher.
The goods.
Yeah, don't hold back.
I'll give you the really long story short.
Okay, cool.
Well, first, I'm from Long Island, New York. I used to talk with my hands, have Italian accent a little bit, but not too heavy. Talk to my parents, though, it was real heavy. Went to California for college, went to Stanford University, got a degree in life science and biotech. So science background, hard fact. Worked with stem cell research for 4 years,
Nice.
in a lab, all of that jazz. Was raised Catholic, then left it, went to Christianity, and then left it. All a part of the awakening. And then last, playing in the NFL, the most hyper-masculine sport in the world. Again, the last thing you think I'm involved with is stones, crystals, or anything woo-woo, namaste, yoga maybe, because it's really good for sports. But again, a lot of questions, a lot of skepticism. And when I was out in Green Bay, I'd hit the deepest depression in my life, where I'd gone through a position change from a wide receiver, so I'm like kind of blocking on the outside, for those of you that don't know football, to having to block basically silverback gorillas. And so I'd gotten like 4 or 5 minor concussions in the first time I was there, like blacked out first play. And it was 4 weeks of this out in the middle of Green Bay, Wisconsin, negative 33 degrees. And I'm asking the question, why am I here? I've spent my whole life pursuing a sport that, again, I didn't truly love. I loved it because of the attention I got from my dad, because we're all seeking this love, right? This approval outside of us. Gave me attention from society, approval. This is what a man does, sick. And I felt the most helpless. And so spirit, as I'm in Christianity at the moment, I'm listening to Yeshua and I'm like intuition, and I'm kind of talking out loud, and I'm told to put the Bible down. I'm like, all right. So I put the Bible down, and I appreciate that as a stepping stone. The second was the energy bus, pick that up and read it. And it was all about the message of positive thinking and keeping your mind really straightforward and just really kind of creating with your positive thoughts. And then 3 is my favorite number. And of course, that same week was the bye week. So I go home, and my mother's there, and she's like, will you come to a crystal store with me? And I was like, Ma, this is what I'll do, whatever you say. You want me to have herbal teas, whatever you need, like, let's do this. And I go to a Time for Karma in New York, in Rockville Center, and I didn't know what to do, and I started hovering my hand over stone as I talked to my mom, and she's like, just close your eyes and just feel it out. And as I began to hover my hand, heat came from this general area as my eyes were closed. And I was like, that's not real. And so then I hover back, and the heat is more intense. So then I grab this stone, and I see visually like this is the one I'm drawn to. And it's so small, maybe about the size of like a thumbnail. And I'm holding on to it, and immediately I get this tingling sensation running up my arm, this sense of peace, and I smile for the first time. And I'm like, this is just a stone. This is not real. So I put the stone back down, and then the sensation kind of remains. And then I picked the stone back up, and it got even more intense. And I was like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I like it. And so I stay in the store for about an hour and a half, and I'm just gathering my little treasures. And then I go back to Green Bay, and then I recognize that my vibration changed, that my direction changed, simultaneously reading the book of the energy bus. And then when my vibration changed, my reality changed. The things around me, my teammates started to change, and the whole organization started to change, because I was just dancing as a mirror, showing other people that, yes, we can turn things around if you decide. Let's just be this light and have fun with what we're doing. And then from there began the 3-year kind of journey, where I had the real moment of becoming a healer was like 2 or 4 months after that. So this was in 2016, around October-ish, November. And then when I really had my first healing was February 15th. And it was with my former teacher, Andrea Mulcahy. She had given me my first healing. And from that moment, because God was asking me, I need your undivided attention, and I wouldn't give it to him. And then when I broke up with that relationship, and then was like, all right, I'm all yours, here we go, had that healing. And then my mind, my heart, everything opened up, and I took off, and I jumped off the cliff, and I was like, all right, here's spirituality, here's energy work, here's the movement. And so here I am now 3 years later.
Wow, that's such an amazing story.
So February 15th is kind of the marker day for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the 46th day of the year, by the way, which is the heart chakra and the third eye. Third eye, heart chakra.
Logan, I love you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude,
wow.
it's serious right there.
Yes.
It's all divine, man.
I'm so, that makes me so happy.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
Of course, confirmation.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Green and purple, baby. How's the green and purple day?
I'm living the green and purple life.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's why you like the Moldavite, which
Yes.
is a green stone.
Wow.
And the fluorite.
Yes.
Because the fluorite is green and purple.
And it was the rainbow fluorite.
Yeah, that
it
was. Yeah. The
Wow.
stone you picked.
Interesting.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. I love it all. I didn't even realize that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
The synchronicity.
Yeah.
It is
Totally.
synchronous. So that's amazing. So you have this transformation of going from, I mean, I know you had a college background and science background, but you had an NFL career who people would die for, a lot of people in this world, and you literally transformed from that into this healer.
Yeah.
Which you were really designed to be anyway.
Correct.
Now that you know that.
Right.
You were designed to be a healer.
And you I would say with everybody, you know what you're doing. You're going through life. Like I was playing football. I wasn't in love with it. There's a part of you that feels wrong or like just uncomfortable in the direction you're going, regardless that your talent and your skill is taking you there.
Yeah.
And then when I decided to leave it last year, that's when everything became easy. That's when everything became smooth, because I surrendered to this idea of like, I have to do this because of pressure, society, or what you think everyone is telling you that you should do. And the second you let go of that and you just unfold, oh man, the ride is so beautiful. It really is.
You can tell in your facial expressions.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
I'm so blessed. I really am.
What was the catalyst that really made the light bulb go off for you to say, I'm done with football. This is the new direction for me in my life?
Ooh, the limbo phase. I don't know if any of us have really been there. I've experienced this when I was out in Cleveland. When I injured my shoulder, I tore it. I was going to go under for surgery. And I'm just kind of sitting. I'm like, I'm supposed to be in a sling for 6 months. Do I really want to rehab again? Do I want to go through this injury like for something again that I don't love and I'm so far in debt with? Like I'm pursuing again a dream that's not mine. And so the question was why? Why would I go and do that if I know that what I'm doing when I was healing people on the table at Goddess Elite, which was the crystal store that I worked in when I got released from the Browns, it's like, I love the expression that people made when they got off the table and being a conduit for that. And like that smile, that like I have the chills, like that moment was more intense and more gratifying than any ring, any play that I made, any like moment on the field. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to make a living or survive from here, but I'm going to trust this. And when I stepped out of the limbo, the universe has asked me, basically, you're going to decide. Because I was like, show me the answer. Just tell me. Yeah. Choose football or, healing. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to go with healing. And the second I decided, everything followed suit. It wouldn't make the decision for me. And so that moment of after I hit going into surgery, it was like I had this 3-week grace period of like healing my shoulder. And then I got to decide. Side note, shout out to my life coach at the time, Noelle. She was telling me the same thing. And she's into energy a little bit, but she's like, you got to decide. You have to decide. And when you decide, I promise all of the stress will be alleviated. All of this will, you'll just know where you're supposed to go.
And so in deciding, you obviously followed your intuition. Were you meditating at that time?
Yeah, deep.
You were meditating.
Deep.
Okay.
And it was just the same thing kept coming up. I knew I was supposed to leave the game. And it was just this idea, where's my identity?
Can you elaborate on your meditation practice at that time, what you were doing to go so deep and getting these answers to come to?
So I would hold on to usually one crystal. I would set up a grid on the floor, and I just sit in a chair. And sometimes I put crystal grids underneath me or in front of me, but generally it was a grid and then one crystal I would work with. And I would do a little bit of breathing exercise, not really breath work to get so intense, but just to calm the body. And then I would listen to brain waves to really induce theta waves, delta waves sometimes if I really wanted to go, because I was trying to practice the somnambulistic trance, and that's just so difficult.
Yeah.
And just doing that, then I would ask the question. I would just ask, what direction am I supposed to go? Show me, or I would just try and silence my mind, because I was also going through a roller coaster of emotions. And so just at least spending 10 minutes a day is really what I would go. And sometimes it would turn into 45 or an hour. And other times I couldn't silence myself. So I would just get frustrated. But it was something that I was diligent every day, just giving the attempt, because I was also healing my shoulder at the same time.
Interesting.
I love that you said, how blessed and, guided you were to leave the NFL, because you really were. I mean, guys walk away from there with so many issues due to all the concussions, and it's something that's not talked about enough. But I've had some friends, before, and it's really hard on the body. It's really hard on the head. And so it's such an incredible, your story is so incredible, but it really is so divinely, blessed for you.
I'm fortunate.
And you get to share all these gifts now, with people. Do you go and do you work with some guys in the NFL still, or?
Not so much. But when I was on the Browns, that was such a cool impact to have. Because again, you're labeled as the crazy person. You walk around with stones and rocks. But I remember having around nine players who came up to me at one point. And they were just like, what is this rock? Does this stuff work? And I happened, one of my favorite stories, actually, I won't even drop a name, but big lineman. You're thinking this dude, the last thing he's going to do is work with a stone. And he's like, Juice, does this stuff, does it really work? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, let's try it. What are you feeling right now? I'm like, do you feel uneasy or stressed out? Just talk to me a little bit. And he said, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm just stressed, my mind's all over the place. I'm like, would ungrounded kind of symbolize how you feel? And he's like, yeah. Then I just happened to have a smoky quartz. And I said, hold on to this stone. Cup your hands together. And I'm like, let's do a simple breathing exercise. 5 simple breaths. 3 seconds in, I want you to imagine that the stone is going through your left arm to the center of your chest. Hold for 3 seconds, and 5-second exhale out your right arm back into the physical stone. 5 rounds. That's it. And in that 1 minute of time, when he opened his eyes, he just said, whoa, what was that? And I was like, that's peace and stability, my friend. And so these would be the little stories that I got to have with my teammates. Mm-hmm. And it really, a couple of huge people, and they're like, this changed my life. This, wow. And just keeping it low key. So that type of impact was so amazing. And yet again, I just kind of let it be. I didn't have to, I don't reach back out or, continue to work. I feel like it'll come back around in another way, but it's still, again, hyper masculine sport, Yeah. It's really considered feminine or soft or crazy. And the image in the NFL is already so high, and the stigma surrounding by it. It's to break that norm. That's what I'm trying to lead by example.
Totally.
Yeah.
Wow. Devon, will you talk about a lot of the stuff that you're doing now? You do these amazing classes with stones, with meditation. Do you want to talk about a little bit about that? Because that's something that I think our viewers would find really fascinating, because not everybody does meditation that way.
Yeah, so I teach at Unplugged Meditation in Santa Monica and in Wilshire. In Melrose. And that was just kind of thrown at me. Again, I asked you guys, as you're listening, if you have an opportunity that kind of comes up to you, and just because you're not prepared, quote, but it's there. Go and take it. I promise if you're being strongly guided in that direction, then allow it to happen. Because when I was asked to teach, I was like, I've never taught. I don't have any teaching experience. And Suze was just straight up like, well, just take your meditation and then teach people how you meditate. And I was like, mine's unorthodox. There's no order. There's no rhyme or rhythm. And yet I was like, okay, here we go. And then it unfolded. And then I practiced the first half. I guide you. And the second half, I let you and your thoughts and your intention unfold. And I've used crystals and I create the space, and the music I have is a certain frequency to it. So I'm really trying to create an enormous type of healing conduit for you as the healer. It evolved from 1 class a week to 2 class to now I have 4 and subbing up to 6 at times. And it's like all because I trusted, and somehow miraculously I was going to come up with a space and a meditation that would work with a lot of people. So I do that mainly on the weekends. And then during the week, I'm a personal trainer trying to show people actually how to connect their bodies together, where I got to give a big shout out to Dr. Vince Cajuste, who also uses energy. He taught me how to connect energy to the physical body when it comes to training and using your mind. And so now adding stones and crystals while working out, and then having that carry over into meditation, like...
Wait, you use stones and crystals while working out?
Yes.
Oh, can you go into that a little bit more? That's interesting. I've never heard that one.
Oh boy,
That's a new one to me.
Yeah, she likes that one.
I'll just use 2 simple stones for endurance athletes. Red jasper or bloodstone is really good for blood circulation. So as you're trying to go on your long distance runs, like, you want to have the best type of circulation you can, and obviously the purest form of oxygen. So the vibration of the stone as it's on your body will help do that. It'll assist in that. And so just wearing those stones, as I have people who will do 30 reps, 40 reps of this continuous workout, I'll be like, hey, hold on to the jasper if you're open to it, or wear this bracelet if you're open to it. And let's do a little bit of breathing exercise as well, or I'll have them outside of the stone. Imagine that they're pulling in energy from the floor or from the trees around us outside the building into your 3rd chakra. And then from here, as you begin to do the rep, slowly just give little bursting pulse from this space and see the difference. And people truly feel that. So I'll just combine those 2 little examples.
That's amazing. Yeah. I can't wait to try this.
Yeah.
I think I didn't even think of wearing a stone that helps circulate the blood.
Yeah.
Increase the nitric oxide.
Mm-hmm. That or a tiger's eye for the focus, for the concentration, because, our mind wanders while we lift. And sometimes I just need to lock it in. So I'll throw that one on.
I think it's kind of cool that it like a guided meditation works so well, but you're doing a guided workout.
Yes.
Right. And you're telling, and I think, when we work out, now that I think of this, when we work out, we miss things because we're not consciously there. When we're focusing on the set and the blood pumping in the muscles, whatever we're doing, but there's obviously more to it than meets the eye. And when you have that coach on the side of you telling you to focus upon a certain thing, and it's like, whoa, I didn't feel that before. That's because you weren't paying attention to it.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And that's where your expertise comes into play.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
Again, I got to give a big shout to Vince Cajuste, because he brought my awareness to it. You get all the way to the NFL. I met him in Green Bay, and
Is he a trainer? Or?
He clinical rehab specialist. That still doesn't bring it to him.
Is he still working in the same department?
Oh
now?
my gosh, 3 masters and a PhD, and he's 46.
Okay,
and
thanks, Vince. I don't know you, but
I'm telling you, he's my best friend. This guy, oh my gosh. You think, you're doing amazing going through college and you make it to the NFL. And then he goes, you've been doing it wrong the whole time. You want to talk about destruction of the ego? Yeah, but most amazing thing. Really? Yeah.
What's his birthday? Do you know his birthday? That's okay.
Give me a sec. I actually, June 22nd.
Master number 22. Okay. He's a 6 of clubs?
He is.
Ooh, that's a victory card.
Yes.
Victory of intuition.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that goes with your 9 of clubs.
Yes.
That's the 96, the yin yang. So no wonder why you guys come together. Wow.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Very cool.
I'm blessed.
I love that.
Dude, it's so amazing because it's like, okay, so he's the 31st birthday. He's your spirit animal, as you know, is the turkey. And the turkey's all about giving things away. And that's exactly what you do. You give things away to people.
Yeah.
You transfer energy and you give them the energy.
Yeah.
It's just when I did your read, I just like, wow, you're living your true purpose.
And that was crazy, is again connecting the dots. I didn't have the awareness of that animal, and then when you stated all about it, I was like, oh, And it's just, again, taking your awareness just a little bit more.
Just a notch up.
Just a notch up. And the more that you expand with those simple things, then you really understand what the synchronicities are. And I'm like, I can't wait to see what else is in store.
Absolutely. We love utilizing all of the different mystical platforms for self-discovery to really help guide people. Logan's amazing at it. For those of you listening that aren't familiar. So also I want to bring up, you do work with people, you do Skype calls. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what somebody can learn
everyone's all about putting you on the pedestal. So
working with you.
Because you're locally here in LA, but you're teaching in Beverly Hills, right? Or
no, Santa Monica.
Santa Monica,
and then the Unplug on Melrose. I don't even in West Hollywood. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I do the Equinox for the personal training. In Beverly
cool.
Hills.
So
and you do private sessions.
And private sessions. Yes. So the privates, if you're in LA, come to the home. And the simplest way I can say it's like a combination of modalities. And that's what I think is the best, is that there's no strict way. I don't really follow a rule. So I have you lay on a table. I create a crystal grid underneath you. And say we go for an hour session. Listening to you in the first 5 to 10 minutes, as you are talking, I'm connecting to your higher self or your best friend that knows you truthfully. And as you're speaking your intention out loud, I'm creating a grid, a smaller grid that's going to have that intention married to it. And I'm just placing the stones where I'm supposed to. And then we go through the healing, where the music that's playing is working on you. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I feel like everyone can do Reiki. It's just, you don't even have to get a certificate. It's just channeling this energy. I send you somewhere interdimensionally to this place called Maya, which is this whole other universe I spent 1.5 years creating.
Kaleidoscope is what I call it.
Yes, I love it. Send you there, and then wherever else your body needs to go. And so having all these modalities work at you at the same time. Also, I end up channeling either your higher self or what other versions of myself come through, and I'll end up speaking light language, or I'll do some toning or use a bowl or the wands that I have. It's all happening all at the same time. And although that I'm physically doing one thing, I know I'm sending my multi-dimensional self working on you in other avenues at the same time. So it's this really intense healing that if you don't get in the way of yourself, me as a conduit can allow you as the healer to experience true healing.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah. That's
getting people to tap into their own healing abilities, because that's really where it's at. I mean, I'm always telling people, like, it starts in the mind, because the mind controls the body, and people making that decision, to heal themselves and really want to get better and understand that they are masters, of their domains 100%. Yeah. I've seen so many miracles, happen that way. That's amazing that you teach people that. It's so fantastic. Do you connect with people's, when you say higher self, like guardians and angels and guides? Like, do you call them in? That's amazing. So I teach people about, tapping into that as well, because it's so important. People don't even realize that they can really connect with all of those spirits and ask them for help. And when I learned that, it was so powerful for me. I actually only learned this a couple years ago, and it completely changed my life. And I've been working with some people and teaching people that actually speaking out loud and calling them in and asking for their help. It's so powerful. I love that you include that.
And just, again, it's bringing it to their awareness, just like the turkey for me. And again, like the private sessions don't even have to be in person. I work with many people that are across the country, and they're like, how does this work? I'm like, we're not separate. Energy is everywhere. Everything is connected. Like a simple exercise is, I want you to think of right now your right foot. You bring your awareness to it. And now I want you to think of the entire solar system. And instantaneously, you can bring your awareness to everything at once. And then I'll say, go further. You're always connected. And if you weren't, you wouldn't be able to shift such a focus to what that is. And making people realize that, and then they go through their healing experience, is like, so now imagine what else you can do, So
that's awesome. So we're talking with Devon Cajuste, the former NFL player, and now the amazing healer with Gemstones. Do you have a title that you go on now, or
I don't. The crystal healer, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I've actually never thought about giving myself.
That's fine. No, just because you're.
I'm not into titles.
Yeah. I think we just use them to kind of list ourselves so people can get a picture of that. But
the servant.
Yeah, servant, of course.
I have a question. So with all of your working with clients, can you share with us some of the most amazing, like, transformational stories that some of your clients have experienced, or
just one?
Without naming names, of course, is something that you can, share.
Dang. So, wow.
Well, you gave us that one.
Yeah.
You gave us the big defensive back or linebacker or something.
Yeah, that's what just giving him the stone and showing him that. One on the table, which is, it was more of like a delayed kind of thing, it was a 30-minute session, and this woman had hypothyroidism, which is basically like your hormones they're not being sent out at a normal pace. They're really slow. Mm-hmm. And so it's causing a lot of issues within the body. And she's having to take tons of medication to try and upregulate.
It's not signaling the thyroid.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, can you just give me 30 minutes of your time and see what we can do? I just want to try this healing on you, and just, it won't cost you anything. Just let me do this. And she was open to it. So we sat on the table, and the room was filled with so much light that the fact that time went so fast and it was over kind of shocked me. I wanted to keep going, but I was like, hey, like, it was done. And when she got off the table, she looked at me and she's like, I have no idea what just happened, but I felt that it was the most profound experience that I just had. And I was like, sweet. Well, I don't know what this means after that, but just know that the healing will go for 2 weeks. And she had a doctor's appointment to check in 2 weeks about how her hypothyroidism was doing. And the hormones began to regulate. And she's already, I've checked in with her actually about a month ago, and she's like, yeah, half my medications are gone. And it was just one session, and it was 30 minutes. And it was just, again, showing someone what they're capable of doing. And then I had not an identical person, but in the same place when I was in Cleveland, Ohio, someone who had 2 growths in their thyroid. And it was growing, and she was worried, and she couldn't figure it out. And then the same concept, 30 minutes spent with her. And she texted me, shooted me a message on Instagram, and was like, the growth stopped. Like, they've just stopped. They haven't grown any bigger, but they haven't got any smaller, but they stopped growing. And she didn't change her diet. She didn't do anything of that nature. And I'm like, these 2 moments, just small instances, have been amazing. I guess I'll share a third that just came out of nowhere. On the first time I'd ever been thrown into public healing, it was in this expo, and there was this military person who wouldn't do healings. His best friends with the store owner, Goddess Elite. She's been pushing him to get a healing. He's been across the country in Iraq. He's like 60 years old. He's like, I believe this stuff, but like, I wrestle with my demons, and we're at peace. And basically I kept flipping his words on him. I'm like, but you're not at peace because you keep talking that you have to work with them to become at peace. Why don't we just get rid of them? Mm-hmm. And so I kept persisting for this hour. And he's like, I'll come back maybe. And this is a man who was denying healing for 13 years, and yet he was like, I'll do it. And so we got on this table, and I remember 2 enormous type energies, really low vibrations, leaving this space. And I had, Melissa was her name, like, guard off the area, although it was very public, because I just felt that this was going to be so intense. And I just keep getting chills because it's the first time I'm working with this energy. I don't know. I just feel its enormous power. And I'm like, don't be afraid. Mm-hmm. And watching, like, feeling them walk away from this person on the table, he's doing this work. And he got up from that table and he teared up. And he was like, wow, I felt that. Like, this, I got so many chills. It was crazy because here's this military person who's wrestling with the demons, and he's like, and I don't have to do it anymore. And he's just like crying in my face because he did that work. And so for that, it was like, whoa. Like,
what a reward.
You just can't, exactly. And it's like, that's how I knew this is what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Yeah.
And that's just confirmation for you, right? That you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And what you gave up was to open the door of what you really were supposed to walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it showed me my strength.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What I was willing to go through for people, and something that I didn't love. So now that I'm choosing something that I do love, I can't wait to see how far I can go.
Yeah. You can tell.
We were just talking earlier about that reward and helping people, and just that feeling and how fulfilling it is to the soul. We were talking about that earlier, how amazing it feels. We both feel we're in line with our purpose and our passion, and we were talking about, helping people and that feeling that you get when you see, somebody transform, somebody heal, somebody be set free. It's really, really powerful and beautiful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You both get the healing, That's the best part is like, yes, I'm just a conduit, but because that energy is flowing through me.
Mm-hmm.
I always say to the people that I work with, the gift is for me. It's always, I feel like I'm the gift is to watch them transform, and it feels so good.
You know what I foresee with you. This is just coming from a download. I think is that. Yes. I know there's some healers
on 113. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's right. Today is the 13th too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's your flip of your birthday. Mm-hmm. No, but I really have a feeling that you're going to turn into this. And if you've ever played Street Fighter, that the character Raiden, who shoots the electricity out of his hands.
Yes.
I really feel like that's the person you're going to end up becoming, because there are people out there now that do that, where they don't even have to touch you, just get up really close and you feel this electricity and this voltage, and you're talking about being a conduit. I really believe that's your next chapter. I think that's the level you're going to get to. Yeah, I really do.
I'm all about
because
it.
Because of you being the 31 and the turkey and the magician and the empress, and everything about you is just, it makes sense to be that kind of person and that kind of healer. It's really where I feel you're going to end up going.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, you already signed up.
Where's that exactly?
You're on your way.
Yeah, I love it.
But I would say for you to visualize that, where you can be that electrical healer.
You know what's crazy is, like, as you're saying that, what flashed to my mind, I had this dream that I was this old wizard in the middle of this huge meadow, and there's these mountains in the background, and I'm practicing, yes, really corny, but Avatar: The Last Airbender, moving all 4 elements. And I'm just practicing moving the earth and the wind and bringing down water and fire. And there's lightning going on. So when you said this, I'm like, boom. Yes. Yeah. Let's do it.
And you guys have to, you both have to go to Ojai. I mentioned, we have a friend up there. His name's Patrick, and he got struck by lightning twice in 6 days, and he's still alive. Yeah, that's the healer up there. He's a real Cherokee shaman. So I feel like, you going to meet, he puts his hands on you, and it's just, so I feel like that was another door you need to open up and explore.
Yes.
He's 100%. Such a beautiful man, dude.
Oh my God, struck twice.
In 6 days, dude, and he's still alive.
Yeah.
And he was born on the 96th day of the year, which is yin yang.
Yeah.
April 6th.
Let's do it.
Powerful,
so that story,
man.
It's interesting. So a friend of mine told me about a guy who lives in the caves in the Philippines, and obviously he lives in the caves, and he goes for months into the caves in darkness, and he's not around, computers and electronics, and he does it so that he can harness his energy with his hands. So when you said that, I immediately thought of this story. And he actually does remove things from the body with his hands. I mean, my friend showed me a video of him working on him. It's so wild. If I didn't see it, I wouldn't believe it. No, and he pulls things out of his body without cutting him. Look,
he can put his hands inside of your skin without.
Yeah, because because his hands, because of the energy.
I need this video.
Because of the energy in his hands.
But it's pretty trippy.
But so if you are going to go that route, definitely.
It's really trippy.
Definitely, not being around, because I believe that the EMFs really affect our electricity.
Yes.
Right? Because we are energy, we are electricity, and it affects us. So if you are going to go that direction, you definitely want to, really be careful about, that energy, because I can see you have that power too. So
thank you. Yeah. And the synchronicity in your story, I just saw today, Aubrey Marcus, he's going to go 7 days into complete darkness and really go into healing, and he's working with Wim Hof and just did like the cold plunge. So the fact that I'm like, I've been feeling to do this, like sitting in the darkness, because that has been my greatest illusion, the fear of darkness. And So you're telling me that story, like we're just dancing right now. I love this.
Heightens your senses. Well, there's a restaurant in Santa Monica you can go to and start there. It's called Opaque. It's completely dark. You can start there. But yeah, Wim Hof's amazing. I'm a huge fan of him.
Yeah. His story is pretty amazing. The Iceman.
Yeah.
Just even like just talking about it and just thinking about him doing that with Everest and pair of shorts, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Well, the power of our minds, the power of our bodies. It's all there. And, you hear all these stories of people healing themselves of things that doctors say, they're never going to get healed of. That's what the Healers is about, just tapping into that power and all of the different holistic things out there available. Because there's so many amazing things and techniques.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we got a couple minutes left. So Devon, let me ask you, do you have a specific stone that you prefer to use above all others? That is kind of your basic stone.
Yeah, my favorite is moldavite. It is the holy grail of stones. Literally, it's a meteorite that fell down in the Czech Republic. And oh man, I just even saying it is my favorite stone. So in simplistic terms, it takes you the spiritual path. It'll take you from point A to point B, or where you're supposed to be or where you would like to intend to go. And it's going to plow you on the fastest track to that point B. It's going to bring it right to you, and it's going to uproot everything in the way. Your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, all of it, to get you to that next heightened level. It also magnifies and intensifies the effect of every stone that it works with to a whole nother level. It's almost like supercharging it. And so not only is moldavite, like people can't even hold on to it sometimes because it's so intense, very heady. When you combine it with something like a Herkimer diamond and
I was just going to ask you about Herkimer diamonds. Yeah. How does it compare to that?
They work really beautiful together.
So wow.
So Herkimer is like the dream stone. It's very powerful and clear as well. So whatever you're dreaming in your visions, it's intense. So then combining that with moldavite and another tektite, literally just tektite, you're going to like float. But again, it's to raise your awareness to such a heightened state. Let's pull point B, quote unquote, what's in front of you in the timeline and make it point A. And let's do it now. And if you believe that, will things start to shift?
Yeah. You have to believe it, man. Because there are people you go in. So anybody listening right now, man, if you're interested in doing any kind of healings with Devon or just healings in general, first and foremost, you have to believe in what you're going to enter into, because that's the whole point.
Or
of it.
Be open to it.
Or be open to it.
I think the starting place is being open.
Right. That's a good starting point. At the very least, the very basic is to be open to it. Absolutely, I would agree, Gabs, on that. But
I got to get my Herkimer diamonds. I just realized I had a bunch of them on the table and they're not there anymore.
Well, but yeah, definitely the belief of being open to it. The reason why, again, I want to emphasize as the healer, we are not the healer. I'm not the healer. Being a conduit for that, whatever you want, that's going to happen. If you're going to say, well, I'm going to be on this healing table and I'm going to shut him off because I'm going to be a skeptic, you're going to get that answer. Because I can't force any of the energy you don't want to receive. So that's the whole point about being open. And the less that you think about yourself on the playground. You're the kid. That level of innocence is the greatest aspect because you're so free. Nothing matters but playing tag or kickball. You're not worried about homework or going home or bills that you don't know exist yet. It's really playful. And that's when the imagination is so huge. And that's when you create the best. So bringing that innocence to the table and allowing a healer to be that conduit for you, you're open for a world of awesomeness.
It's great that you teach that, because so many people, and I'm sure you find a little bit sometimes in LA, you find people that it's like, okay, just, fix me, or, people want a magic pill. They want you to do all the work, but really, it starts with you, and the decision starts, first with you, because I think there's a lot of people who really want change. And then there's a lot of people who think they want change and they're not ready. And then there's people that really don't want to change. Right.
Yeah. And it's all connected to ego. Like that's what, and trust me, I've had my plethora of ego and I'm still working on it daily.
It's always a work in progress for all of us as we're in this human incarnation. I think.
Surrender.
Surrender is it, man. So if you're listening to this podcast, you are supposed to. Which means that you're probably willing to surrender a little bit.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Right?
Please.
Because everything,
please,
Yeah,
please.
I think we should call this podcast Surrender.
surrender. Yeah, but that's it. Because if you're here listening, if you're watching, then you're supposed to do that. And you could have done anything else today, but listen to this podcast or watch it. So point is that all this message is for you that is listening or watching.
Yes.
We're just the conduits, as you said. And
surrender.
The catalyst. Surrender.
Yes.
Yeah, which is the hangman card, hanging up by the feet.
Yes,
So,
I love this.
Yeah.
Surrender to spirit.
Surrender
please.
to spirit, man.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, well, Devon, how can we find you, or how can someone find you if they're in the LA area, they want to take your class? Do you have a phone number that you give out? Do you have an Instagram, Facebook? Tell us all that. I'm going to splash it on the screen anyway. But
Sweet. Bam. So my Instagram, that's what I use most, is
Instagram.
Devon Cajuste, so DEVON CAJUSTE 86. And then my phone number, work phone, that's what I use, 650-617-5543. That's 650-617-5543. And just shoot me a message and be like, hey, I heard you on the podcast. Like, would love to have a healing session with you. And I'd love to give 20% off here, and like, just appreciate you listening. Like, taking the next step to having your healing and look at what you're ready for. So be more than happy to help out.
Cool. So hear that, listeners? 20% off. You contact Devon directly. We'll splash up all that information on the screen anyway, so we can get you. Yeah. And I'm going to definitely, push you as much as I can, same as Gabs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I think, you have a gift, obviously. And
thank you so much.
People need to know more about it.
I'm just the mirror. I am just a mirror. Anyone that's listening, again, it's like, you're ready for this. You asked for this.
You asked for it.
And I'm here to be that mirror for you, to show you can.
Sorry, I have one more question.
Go for it.
So I always think of the person who maybe doesn't have a lot of information about what we're talking about. We kind of lightly touched on meditation, but do you want to share with people who haven't explored meditation much, what are some of the things and benefits that they'll experiencing while making that part of their daily practice?
Peace is the biggest one. Trust me. So for those that are like into astrology, being an Aquarius, like, I'm the thinker, I'm constantly always in change, like restless mind, which is like more than half of society. And so I'm constantly analyzing. And then those that are in the cards, the 9 of clubs, I'm constantly fighting negative thinking. It's racing constantly. So with that being said, when I began to meditate, it slowed that down. It really quieted my mind. And then because I'm always seeking answers, I started getting them. So when I started letting go of what I think should the answer be, and I started to sit in this stillness, or just allowing the answer to come to me, my life moved more smoothly and quicker. And so again, trust in this process. And first thing that I did for me personally was listening to guided meditation, because trying to sit in the silence didn't work for me. Some people it may be walking meditation. Some people it may be the transcendental meditation. Just trying out the different modalities of meditation and just being persistent. Don't quit. It's just like any real habit. It's going to take diligence. It's not even discipline. It's habitual. And just the fact that you sit down in the same spot, which is what I advise, find a spot and do the same one, because you create a vortex in that area, which eventually makes it easier and easier. And I promise, because you're looking for that peace or this clear mind or the answers for where you're going, it's going to come.
Yeah, well said, because I think meditation people, we're so used to having that instant payoff. And when you don't get that from meditation, because you're not going to get that. Anybody listening, you're not going to get the payoff right away.
It takes, that's one of the things I want to say. It takes sticking with it. It takes sticking with it to really feel and understand the benefits. I would say at least 3 weeks. And it takes a while to really find what works for you. If you are, using a mantra, quieting your mind to getting to that space and place, it takes practice, but to really feel, I think, the benefits. Well, I mean, obviously it's different for everybody, but would you say like 3 weeks is kind of a starting place of somebody doing it consistently to start to feel a little benefit? Or what would you say?
The reason I just can't put a timeline on it, because it's just trying to say, like, what color is the best color in the rainbow?
Yeah.
It's like someone who can do it for the first time and boom, they're just so woke they didn't even recognize it, and they go into meditation first time, and then there are people who've tried for months. Again, the point is to release of what you think the meditation should be like, and it's just being guided and trusting that the meditation is the fact that you're in it, something's happening. It's
Right.
because everything is about your intention in the end. When you set your mind to it, allow it to continue to grow. You just planted that seed. Let it take its time. Let
Right.
it take its toll.
I love
Trust
that.
the
And
process.
it's so different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's so vastly
Yeah.
different.
You got to let the seed nurture, man. Yeah. I think that,
Please.
the thoughts make it as the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, dude, it's been an honor to
Thank
have you on the
Really,
Healers.
this has been marvelous.
Seriously.
So fun to have you.
So much
Thank
fun.
you
This
so
was wonderful.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Really.
Thank
This
you.
is awesome.
Thank you for
man.
your gifts. Yeah, it's really a gift. It would be great if you went and worked with some of the NFL guys. I mean,
I think it will happen eventually.
Yeah,
Especially in this age of Aquarius, no doubt.
Of
Because you're an
course,
Aquarian,
yeah.
it's yeah.
and they need
It's
it.
time.
They need it.
Yeah.
When I just know like a miracle will come through me, and I know that someone with physical ailments, like I'll be out there and I'll push it, and then you can't really hide it because the way that media goes, and I know at some point it'll happen, and then I'll be like, I'll hit up a couple of friends, or there'll be someone who'll reach out to me because it'll be divine.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then
when
boom.
the divine timing is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
So lovely to have you.
It was awesome.
Thank you so much.
amazing.
Really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
you
you
guys.
for
Really.
coming and sharing all your gifts and beauty with us.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll have to have you on again.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Much
man.
love to all you beautiful people out there. Really.
So there you go, man. Your first session, 20% off.
Yeah.
Devon, Cajuste. My name is Logan, the lovely Gabrielle Tuitt, and this is the Healers. We're going to call it a night. Thanks for joining and listening and
Thank you.
watching and the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blessings.
So that's it,
to
everybody, for this episode of the Healers. Good night.
Namaste.
Good night.